The Sony Xperia 5 Mark V, the newest model in Sony's Xperia line, was recently announced. How does it stack up against Apple's own iPhone 14 Pro? Sony's Xperia smartphones, like the Xperia 1 Mark V, are well known for having excellent cameras, and Apple frequently appears in our lists of the best camera phones. This can make choosing between the two devices challenging. Fortunately for you, we've outlined all the key distinctions so you can select the smartphone that's best for you. Without discussing the cameras, we can't properly compare the Sony Xperia 5 Mark V and the iPhone 14 Pro. In this case, there are a few noteworthy differences. 3 cameras on the back of the iPhone 14 Pro are a 12-megapixel telephoto lens, a 12-megapixel ultra-wide sensor, and a 48-megapixel main sensor, while the Sony Xperia 5 Mark V has a 48-megapixel primary sensor and a 12-megapixel ultra-wide-angle sensor with a 123-degree field of view. It also has 2 cameras. Both phones can record video in 4K, but only the Sony can do so at 120 frames per second. The video creator feature on the Xperia 5 Mark V is another advantage. With it, you can select photos, videos, and music, and have your phone put them all together to create a video for you. The dynamic island was one of the biggest and most distinctive improvements made to the iPhone with the iPhone 14 Pro. This is a software function that makes use of iOS to turn the intrusive notch into an interactive feature to show particular notifications, like when AirPods are plugged in or Apple Pay is turned on. The front camera and sensors are positioned below the thin bezel at the top of the display on the Sony Xperia 5 Mark V, which does not have a notch. The battery on the Sony Xperia 5 Mark V is larger than that on the iPhone 14 Pro. Sony claims that the 5000 mAh battery inside the Xperia 5 Mark V can power the device for an entire day, with 50% of the charge left. You'll have to watch our review to find out if this holds true in our experience. The iPhone 14 Pro can also last all day, with our test showing that after a typical day of use with the always-on display turned on, we still had 10 to 15% of the battery left. Although Apple doesn't specify the battery's exact dimensions on its website, many reports place the size at 3200 mAh. The iPhone 14 Pro can be configured to have up to 1 TB of storage if you need a phone with a lot of space. The storage capacities of 128, 256, and 512 gigs are smaller. The 128 gigs of built-in storage on the Sony Xperia 5 Mark V can be expanded to 1 TB with a microSD card. If you're still undecided between the two phones, you might be tempted by the Sony Xperia's price. The phone costs £849. In comparison, the starting price for an iPhone 14 Pro is $999. For the same 128 gigs of storage, that amounts to a £250 savings. If you like this comparison, I expect you to hit the like button. I can also recommend you to watch other video comparisons, such as Sony Xperia 5 Mark V versus Sony Xperia 1 Mark V, or with Xperia 5 Mark IV. Thanks for watching, have a nice day and God bless you.